Hi there, Diamond Girls. Yes, you can survive without a man. In this video, I'm going to tell you not only how to survive without a man, but how to thrive, how to make your life wonderful, rich, and full of things you love and enjoy, and give you the best, absolute best chances to attract and call forth the right man into your life. I'm going to share a little story about my first experience with a woman who her whole world, her whole worth was about the man in her life, how it kind of influenced me as a young child, what it was like for me growing up, seeing other women who really needed a man and depended on a man, and how those values just didn't really align with who I was. And for a long time, didn't even really want to get married. So I'm going to share all of that. And I promise you in this video, I will share some unconventional tips that you really have not heard before about how you can make your life something amazing with or without a man. I'm going to talk about all of it. It's not going to be a bunch of lame examples of go journal and go travel and do things like that. I might include a little something along those lines, but I can promise you these will be some feminine energy tips that you have not heard before, and I cannot wait to share them. So this is a live stream. So as per the usual, what I do is I take some questions towards the end and get your question in mind. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to live your life without a man. I'm going to give you so many tips about finding your worth and your value. And if you're new to my channel, take a moment and hit that subscribe button. That means so much to me to know that you're following me. It's totally free and that you will be notified when I go live. And it lets me know I'm doing a good job. Now, for those of you who are also new to me, I'm Adrienne Everheart. I'm a feminine energy dating and relationship coach. I have been told I am YouTube's #1 feminine energy coach. I've been doing this for a good long while. I have lots of amazing testimonials and a free gift for you waiting over at my website, everheartcoaching.com. That link is going to be below. I also have my best-selling ebook, 500 Ways to Talk to a Man. Teaches you all about scripting and feminine energy and how to speak to a man so he really hears you. Now let's get started. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to live your life without a man. And yes, you can survive without a man, and not only survive, but you can have a passionate and independent life that is unlike anything else you have had, possibly up until this experience or when you were younger and men weren't really a factor at that point. Maybe your dad or your parents were important to you, but you didn't really have this dependency on having a man in your life. So real quick, give me a thumbs up in the chat to make sure that you can hear me. I'm always a little worried about that. So the first thing I want to share with you, if you're watching this video, is that you have forgotten how wonderful you are. That's part of realigning yourself with your natural feminine energy, is rediscovering and keeping it at the focus of how wonderful you absolutely are, just as you are, just the way you are. You don't need a man for yourself to be wonderful. But let's talk about this a little bit, because life does feel good. And we can have a lot of meaning and experiences and memories and feel like we're really living life when we're enjoying it with someone. You can imagine going on vacation by yourself. Once in a while, it might feel really rewarding. And then other times you really just want someone to be there with you and share it with you, a man that you really love and care about to have in your life. So it's perfectly normal to want to have those feelings. That's part of being a human. No man is an island. We really appreciate that connectedness. But this is also a time for some unique opportunities for personal growth and self-discovery that you otherwise cannot get being tied down in a relationship. Now, I'm going to share a story with you about when I was a little girl. I had a babysitter. Back then, I thought she was probably ancient. I don't know, my cat is starting to play with its toy right now. But I had a babysitter and she was wonderful. but she was kind of like a stay-at-home single mom type. And I remember going to spend time with her and watching her soap operas with her. And she would look out the window constantly, waiting for her husband to come home. Like right when it got around a certain time, she would just start to just look out the window and wait for him. And I remember as a little kid being like, hey, put the attention back on me. Like, talk to me more. Like, give me more attention. Stop looking out this window waiting for this guy. But she would become like nervous and kind of anxious acting. And it would be all about like when her husband was coming home. And then sure enough, oh, she's up from the couch. She's home. She races to the door and she goes to greet him. And I remember like running to go meet him too, like just following her lead. And he was kind of like grumpy to see her. He wasn't really totally happy to see her. And I picked up on that as a kid, as one does. And then she would put the focus onto me and like, oh, look how cute Adrienne is. And this is what we did today or what have you. And then he'd be like, yeah, yeah. So then she would continue to give me attention. And then can you guess what happened next? He would come back around and be like, so what have you girls been up to today? What have you been doing? Tell me about your day. And we would inevitably, my babysitter would steer it back to talking about him. So I think about this woman. She was childless. I guess she was in her late 30s, early 40s. And her focus and her identity was totally on this man. And then sure enough, when she would pull away, he would come back around and be interested in her and me, right? So I wanted to start with that story to kind of kick off, like I began to realize that women around me would kind of find their value and their purpose in being a wife, in being a mother, and what that meant in society, the expectations, whether it's religious, society, your parents, your family, whatever it is. And I, for some reason, didn't feel this way. My parents had a very rocky marriage. There were a lot of issues with my dad, which a lot of you, I'm yet to meet a client who says, oh, my dad was like totally perfect or my mom was totally perfect. But I just didn't want to get married. And I didn't really want to have children. And I didn't have these instincts wanting to do this. And it really happened to me later in life. I kind of woke up because I believe I was also very much in my masculine energy. I was in a protective energy that I didn't feel like this was something that I needed to have in my life. It was more of a burden. It would be a responsibility. And I just wanted to be me. I just wanted to be who I am. I had boyfriends here and there. I had family members who would say things like, oh, do you have a friend? Do you have a special friend? You know, whether they were hinting at maybe I was gay or something like this. I remember when I started wearing glasses as a young girl, my dad said, oh, men don't make passes at girls who wear glasses. And I was like, I don't care. I love my glasses and I need to see. And I remember getting this certain reaction from my dad. What a jerk to say that to your daughter, right? So there might have even been this air around me that I was not interested in men. And the truth is, I was just so loving my independence, my interest, and I also had wonderful family around me, including my grandparents. I had a lot of good girlfriends. I was really, really even into my pets back then and animal training, and I had a camera. I was into photography, and I loved swimming, and I loved being in nature. My mom would always take me hiking and just exploring in nature. So I had this rich, juicy, full life. And I had a wonderful girlfriend. She was a best friend, nothing romantic. But at some point, she got a boyfriend. And then when she got that boyfriend, everything in our life changed. She went from being my bestie and always there for me and hanging out with me to she was suddenly like unavailable for me. And I was back to that same situation with my babysitter, which was I'm losing this person to this man. And I remember saying to my best friend, like, aren't you going to hang out with him Friday and Saturday? And when can we hang out again? And she goes, look, I'm a woman. I need to have this man in my life. And boy, he would call her on the call waiting. She would hang up on me and not come back to me on the phone. And I didn't like that. I was like, why can't I be in the same place? And I remember going to my mom. I was so sad about this because I was a little bit of a late bloomer. And my mom being like, look, she's interested in boys. She probably wants to have sex. She wants to be married one day. She wants to have babies and all of that stuff. Like, it just wasn't part of my identity. So this is where I want to start at, which is you have a social expectation that wants you or requires you to be a wife or to be a mother or to be married or to be coupled. People will often ask people like, well, girls, like, how many boyfriends do you have? At a very young age, they're already trying to get us married and hooked up with guys. Do you remember being asked that question when you were a little girl? Do you have a boyfriend at school? And you were like maybe 6 years old. So it's kind of in our society that your value and your worth and your identity is that of someone who has purpose and value only as a wife or a mother. And that's just not true. Now, how you feel in this world, if you are without child and without a partner, is something very different. But for many of you, you maybe already have a child from a former relationship, or you may be like me. I am childless. I am happily married, but there is a chance that, anything's possible. I could lose my husband, or we could possibly part ways one day. I don't see it happening. But you see, like, there's this identity or belief system that your value, your security, your safety, your wholeness as a person is wrapped up in the identity of having that relationship with someone else. So let's talk a little bit about some practical advice, a little bit of some situations you might be experiencing where you could possibly be meeting a wonderful, amazing man. But if you don't, you're also really happy, having a wonderful time, being independent, exploring your own rich, juicy, full life, discovering who you are, and opening up the door for that possibility for a man to come your way. That's where I want your energy to be at. So I'm going to share some really niche, very probably things that you haven't thought of, ways that you can meet a wonderful guy. And if not, you're still expanding on this wonderful life that you're living without this society, the pressures of society, that your identity is wrapped up in a person, another person. The first one that I get from a lot of women is when they're on the dating apps, a man will ask them something like, so how's it been going on these dating apps? Or why is a girl like you who's so beautiful single? Or what are you looking for? They'll ask these questions as if a relationship is just this linear thing you've got all figured out in your mind. And the man really means well by that question. He's probably just trying to make a conversation, as they say. But really, it can offend a lot of women because you're in this place of society and expectations and pressures that I need to have an answer. I need to tell you what I've been doing. This is a man asking me a question. I need to answer it. And I want you to be able to relax in those expectations, because those expectations are perceptions and they're false. They're real in that someone has an expectation of you. They're asking you a question you need to answer. But they're false that you owe anyone anything. Unless I say it's like a police officer or a judge, you don't have to answer anyone about anything. All right? So this is about dependency issues. Dependency issues usually stem from abandonment. That's where one parent is not as available as the other parent, or there may be no parents available. This is where your relationships begin to impact your identity as an adult based on what happened to you as a child. And you don't feel safe. And whenever you don't feel safe, you're in what is known as a dysregulated state. And when you're in a dysregulated state, you can't make good decisions. So that's when you blow up your boyfriend's phone 10 times. That's when you break up with him out of nowhere because he's just not giving you what you need in the relationship. And so we have a way of sabotaging our relationships, might even be a perfectly good relationship, based on a dependency issue that's following us around from our past. So I have a course I teach called FEM for Dating and Relationships, or FEM for Relationships. It's on my website, where I go a little bit deeper in how that wounded inner girl really takes charge of our relationships and can sometimes sabotage them, instead of realizing, you know what? I'm with myself. I live with myself. I'm born with myself. I will die with myself. Let's make good friends with ourselves. Let's enrich our lives, find that personal growth, find our empowerment and fulfillment inside of myself, instead of relying on anyone else for validation. So when men on dating apps or anywhere in life ask you questions that make you feel uncomfortable, instead of taking offense to what they're saying, unless it's downright offensive, I want you to face that challenge and find your honest answer. For example, you're sitting at the bar and the guy goes, I can't believe a beautiful woman like yourself is just sitting here alone at this bar. It's just sad. It's just so sad. Okay? You might get really mad at this guy. You know, a beautiful woman's not allowed to sit at a bar by herself. A beautiful woman is only, making sense to you if she's next to a great guy, right? You can take offense to that. Or you can let someone know, oh, that's so sweet. I'm really happy here by myself. Oh, I've been on the dating apps for a while. I'm meeting great people. Oh, I'm new to a dating app. It feels great to meet here and just meet some people to date and get to know people. I want you to be the bigger person, the better person, and understand that they have come by this society expectation and belief, honestly, that it isn't about you, okay? So here are some things I want you to consider doing. I'm going to run through them real quick, and then we're going to go to Q&A. If you are interested in meeting a wonderful man to have a loving, long-lasting relationship with, I can help you get clear on your core requirements, which is so super important. So as important as you knowing your own core requirements for who you are as an individual, what feels good to you and what you enjoy in life. So a lot of women need help with that because, again, we think, oh, I met someone, I date him, everything works out, we get married. I don't. Okay, on to the next guy. I date him for a year and a half. You end up spending a lot of your life investing in relationships instead of investing in yourself. So I am really getting you to turn this the other way. Consider joining some very niche interest groups. These are clubs or groups that focus on very specific hobbies, whether it's a book club, an art class, a cooking workshop. This can really hook you up and link you up with other like-minded individuals. I met a great guy I dated for a good long while in an art class. And I also met another girl in art class who wanted me to meet her brother to go out on a date. So it's like you'll begin to network that way. And you're also learning a great skill. You're talking about books you love, you're painting, you're learning things. Another one is workshops and classes. So in your area, I can promise you this weekend, there is some sort of real estate workshop going on, or is there some sort of class on woodworking at some local, the bench, I think they're called, or something like that. And this can really help you with these natural conversation starters because someone is doing something or making something that you don't know how it works or you want to learn more. And so when you're in that learning mode, you can begin to have a really authentic conversation with someone. And it's really fun because, again, you've got a mutual interest and it's evolving from there. Another one is adventure travel. Now, you will have to do a little deep digging for this. But adventure travel can include hiking, hiking, kayaking. I don't know why I can't speak suddenly. And there are other singles that are part of these travel groups. Just recently, I had a testimonial of a girl who met a guy on a Facebook singles hiking group, and they're married now. So it's out there. And again, you're getting out in nature, you're socializing, you're not sitting at home alone. You're at home alone. It has its time, it has its place, but this is about growth and expansion. So this one is a favorite of mine, and that is really volunteering for causes that are important to you. So there are some very big charity events, big time, big fundraising charity events where, the seat for a dinner is anywhere from $500 to $20,000. They might have, a band playing that you otherwise couldn't buy a ticket to see. And you can actually volunteer at these events and you might meet some married couples, but you might meet a couple other, men who are there to support that charity, or again, network. But again, you're really expanding on something you want to do in life. So think about a charity or a cause that really means a lot to you, that a family member is suffering with or you are dealing with. There are also speed dating events and other themed events that go on kind of like in bigger cities. These are fun, atmospheric, the atmosphere is fun and light, and you're going to be working on quick connections. It's a great place to practice your feminine energy tools. I have not gotten a lot of testimonials from women who have met someone at a speed dating place, but I think it's really good practice. Now, let's talk about online dating. Online dating can be scary to a lot of women, especially you get of a certain age. You're not getting a lot of men giving you responses. You're getting catfished. It's a lot of ways to be tricked out there. And I do believe you can be a very savvy person, but you can still fall for a scam. It happens all the time. These guys are Casanovas. They know what they're doing. They know how to get to you. They know how to get you to open up your pocketbook or risk your life. They know how to do it because they're going on that same society belief that you feel like you're nothing without a man. And they're using that and manipulating. It's a type of social scamming. I don't know why I can't remember this word, but like a social phishing or hijacking, because they know emotionally they're going to appeal to your emotions. So for those of you who are scared of online dating and putting yourself out there, putting your picture out there, writing a profile, having to answer all of these men's emails or not get a lot of emails, and you only have one or two and the guy just wants to talk and he never asks you on a date, I have a course called FEM Tools for Dating. It stands for Feminine Energy Mindset Method. FEM Tools for Dating is a protocol that takes away all of the nonsense so you don't fall for any type of scam or anything, but you're able to practice with these men. Now, I will tell you, dating apps are the number one way my clients meet their happily ever after guys. You don't have to, but it's a great way to practice. And again, once you have this air around you that I love my life and I'm okay on my own, it would be lovely to have someone in my life, but I'm actually okay. I'm enjoying my life. I see my future unfolding every day just with myself and the things I'm doing. You do really shine like that diamond I'm talking about all the time. You diamond girl, you're going to shine and glow, and that is really going to attract some more energy towards you in that process. And I think you know that. I talked a little bit about networking events. Networking events are usually more career-centered or focused, but again, they can be a good way to meet and connect with people. You can also host social gatherings. My neighborhood has a party almost every week at someone's house. It's just for 2 hours, and it's usually outside. And it's just a great way. Our neighborhood just stays connected. Everybody gets to know everyone. and it's kind of like a BYOB situation, and you just provide snacks. And it's super low key, but host social gatherings, whether it's a board game night in your neighborhood or inviting friends or bring someone they know. It really just creates a relaxed vibe for humans to just be humans and be around each other and leave their cell phones turned off. Now, this is a favorite of mine. This is something I've done, which is community theater. Whether it's helping the kids with the children's theater, or you just want to get involved in community theater, or method acting in particular, these are some amazing ways to meet people and also work on yourself. It's fun, it's creative, it will be challenging. You can express your creativity, you will be learning something. But if you have the wherewithal to take a method acting class, I can guarantee you your life will be changed. If you have a good teacher, check out your teacher, make sure they are experienced with method. Method acting will break down all your walls of who you think you're supposed to be and who you really are in this situation. It's an awesome way to really just explore more about yourself. This last one, spiritual wellness events, new age events, things like this. You will meet a very different caliber of man at a lot of these places. He might be totally in line with your energy. It would be a lot of fun. Whenever I've gone to like a wellness event or something like that, I meet some way out there guys, and way out there people, but I always have a really, really good time. So those are some outside of the box ways to meet some people, get to know them, and have fun. All right, everyone, get your questions ready. I'm going to take a sip of coffee and we'll take a couple of questions. Okay, going to use you as my little guinea pig, Elaine. No judgment. You're saying you're 57 and you have decided to give up. More power to you. But if there's like that mustard seed size of hope that wants a partner in your life, do not let some a-hole who was an avoidant attachment style ruin your life for you. Don't let that man take any more of your life because he was some sort of avoidant, whatever his deal was, right? You are not attached to him anymore. You are free to do whatever it is you want. So more power to you if you've totally given up. But if you haven't, let this man go. You are not exhausted from heartbreak. You're exhausted by the thought of heartbreak. You're exhausted by the fear of heartbreak. Heartbreak is part of the deal. You're going to love, someone's not going to love you back. It's going to be unrequited love. You're going to have feelings for them. They're not going to do the same. You're going to love someone, you're going to like them, they're going to break up with you. It's part of the deal. You are equipped to deal with this and handle this. It's about how much can you still love that person and accept their no and boldly move on with your life, trusting that God, the universe, you, this planet, whatever environment you're in, that everything is going to work out for you. So thank you for sharing that, Elaine. Okay, here's a good question. Guys on dating apps ask me, what's your weekend plans? And then even if I say, not sure, no plans yet, they don't ask me out. What's the best way to answer this question when I don't have plans? So I talked a little bit about 500 ways to talk to a man and also fem tools for dating. I give you a lot of examples about how you can speak to a man. I almost do it like a little bit like a math equation. Like there's the feeling statement, there's the boundary, and then there's clarity. And so treat a man asking you, what's your weekend plans, as if he's asking you out. Because you're on a dating website, that's the whole deal, okay? It's not like he's like, hey, what's your weekend plans? I'm trying to find something to do. So we know why he's asking. So treat it as if he's asking you out. So you might say something like, oh, I feel so I feel so excited to hear from you, or oh, I feel so flattered to get your message. It would feel wonderful to do something this weekend. What do you have in mind? That's it. What do you have in mind? And then now it's about he can come forward. All right. And with guys like this, especially on the apps, you have to sometimes go what I call hit repeat, which is, 2-3 days go by and the same dude reaches out again. He goes, hey, sorry, last weekend I had all these amazing tragic things happen, but I'm back. What are your plans looking like? Would you like to get together? Oh, I feel so flattered to hear from you. Yes, that would be lovely. I'm available this date, and this date. What do you think? So you've given him 3 option days and times. And he goes, okay, well, I'll see what I can do. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. If he reaches out to you like just an hour or 2 before, you have the option to say, sorry, this is a little too last minute for me. I really like to know a little bit more in advance so I can be prepared for the date. Or if you're up for it, go out with him. And maybe the second date or third date, he'll kind of clean up his act a little bit and plan a little bit better. But in Fem Tools for Dating, I teach you more about that. Sorry, guys, a little bit of allergy there. All right. How to start talking about the future when we live an hour away, both single parents, and I have children with disabilities. Oh, bless you. So I'm not a fan of long distance relationships, and this may not be like considered long distance. You can live in, LA and be in like an hour from each other. This is about where do you see us going? Having that conversation. It feels really good. We've been dating for the last, how long? I don't know, Netta. This has been feeling really wonderful. Where do you see us going? He goes, well, I don't know. It feels good. We've been dating each other. Everything feels great. Okay, well, I want to be a wife one day. Or I want to have a commitment ceremony. Or I want to have a public ceremony one day. I want to be exclusive. I want to be I want to have a family with someone. Not I want to have a family with you. I want to be married to you. I want to have a commitment, a ceremony with you. It's like I want this for myself one day. And I'm really curious, where do you see us going? And that guy goes, oh boy, here we go. Having that conversation. Oh man, not prepared for this. What do you want? What do I got to marry now? You just don't know what you might get with a guy. And a lot of times guys respond strong or they get really quiet and shut down. So I always try to give you worst case scenario so you can kind of reel back from that. And I want to be a wife. Own it. Stand by it. He goes, well, you've got your kids and you're happy and I'm happy. I know, but I do want to be a wife. You see, you're holding on to that. All right. I hope that helps. Thank you for sharing. How would you handle a man who intentionally creates arguments aside from feeling statements? Oh, walk away. Walk away. Know when it's starting to go down the tubes and stop it right then and there. Let me tell you, I bet you go to the gym. I bet you lift weights. There is nothing harder that you will be doing in your life than walking away from an argument midstream. It will take every muscle that you didn't even know you had in your body to go, he's doing it again. It's happening. I feel it. And just dropping it. Even if he says, well, yeah, you shouldn't have been so mean and so snotty the other day. Every time I say that, okay. You walk away from it. And then he's left fuming with all that. And you're like, okay. And you walk away. Give it a little time. Give it a little practice. Once that man stops getting attention, remember, even negative attention is good attention. Once he stops getting that attention and that same routine over and over again, this is how we fight. Once you stop that, it changes. It has to. It changes. Keep up the good work on that one. Great question, Andre. Okay, Netta followed up. It's an hour drive. They've been together a year. They're exclusive. Oh, I think this is going to work out for you. Have that conversation and keep in touch with me, okay? I also have a group, a private coaching group that I offer classes every month. I have 4 other coaches that do classes. I answer your posts and questions, things like that. I'm curious, how would you handle if you feel nervous around a man who hasn't done anything wrong? You're not in danger, but you're just nervous, you're not at ease. Do you bring it up or just slowly back away? You're going to have to give me more information on this one, Trista, because are you having some sort of sympathetic nervous system response? You're feeling dysregulated because something looks familiar, or you're feeling some sort of pressure, or I had a boyfriend in college, drop dead gorgeous guy, but just up here, no connection. And I would get around him and I would only really want to do one thing with him. And then I would want to get on with my life. But I would get around him and I would feel really nervous because it just didn't feel right. I mean, something was feeling right, but the me part of it was not feeling right. And I would feel so nervous because I was out of touch with what it was I was feeling. I was rejecting what I was feeling. He was so super good looking. I wasn't going to let him slip away, type of thing. So I was refusing my feelings. And whatever we refuse, whatever we fight against, it comes back with a fury. And I'm curious if that's what you're experiencing. Can you follow up with me below? Farah says, how to convince our man to give time to us. This would be about the terms and conditions, and it wouldn't, or terms and agreements, and it would not be convincing. It would just be like, hey, we're in a relationship. I'm committed to you. We're exclusive. I really want to continue being in a relationship with you. This feels really good, yet I'd like some more quality time. It feels like we're just, we have dinner, we watch Jeopardy, we go to bed, repeat. We get up in the morning, you go to work, I go to bed, we have dinner, watch Jeopardy, or whatever it may be, whatever you're experiencing with him. And just say it would feel really good to, remember we used to go to this movie theater when we were dating, or it would feel really good to go hiking. Kind of give him a little inspiration for some ideas. Don't just say, you need to spend more time with me, come at him with that energy, but instead, like, it would feel really good to do these things and I miss you. And part of being in a relationship for me is that we spend quality time together. What do you think? Promise you, he will probably say, yeah, okay. And then, great. What would you like to do? Let's share a calendar. Let's make it happen. And then when the pressure starts coming on him and he is resistant, and he might be because he's a man, and he might say, okay, all right, I don't know right now. I have a lot going on right now. Okay, all right, let it go for about 9 days. On the 9th day, bring it back up. Hey, honey, remember last week I brought up that I want to spend quality time? I've given you time and it's not happening. Is there something I should know? Because to be in a relationship, to be exclusive with someone, it means I'm spending regular time with them. I'm going on regular dates. We're doing things together, things like that. Okay? And I hope you guys can't hear that alarm, 2 fire trucks going by. All right, let's see if she got back to me. Okay. So it's more about connection, not at peace about the connection, like something is wrong, but not sure what it might be. So whenever you're that out of touch with your feelings, this is why you want to keep practicing your feminine energy tools. I've talked about this before. I had a hard time knowing if I was hungry. I didn't really know the temperature. I would be wearing my coat when it was too warm, or I'd be in the wintertime and people would be like, God, aren't you freezing? And I'd be like, no, I don't think so. And my hands would be ice cold. I was so out of my body and not aware of what I was feeling. I once had a UTI that went on for so long because I was just so good at dealing with the pain. And this is what happens to women who get into their masculine energy for survival. Maybe that hasn't happened to you, but it might have happened for other reasons, is that we actually forget how to feel and we don't even know how to process what we're feeling. Trista, check out my group. Let's go deeper on this. There's something there for you. I'll have my group to my private I Heart Love Academy. Okay, last one. How would you handle answering the question, are you seeing other guys? So I talk about this in Fem Tools for Dating, and I talk about it in my ebook, 500 Ways to Talk to a Man. Go to my website, check out my courses. I have something for everyone, and I even have a bundle where you get everything for one super duper low price. Are you seeing other guys? Oh, I'm really flattered you want to know. I'm curious, like, you know, what do you want to know? Well, yeah, I want to know, you know, if you're sleeping with other guys, you're seeing other guys. I saw you out the other night, and you will feel so nervous while a man is asking you a question like this, especially if you like him. But if you are not exclusive, and if you're just dating and say, well, you know, yeah, I mean, I want to be a wife one day, so I'm keeping my options open. I'm dating other guys. And yeah, I go out and occasionally meet a guy for coffee or something. Yeah, I do. And own up to it. If he gets mad and blows his fuse, it will be one of the best things that ever happens to your relationship, because he may be realizing that he wants to be exclusive with you. And if he wants to be exclusive with you, say, okay, well, you know, I would like to talk about this. And then you go into that terms and agreements or terms and conditions chat. Get Fem Tools for Dating to learn a lot more about that. All right. You have all been so wonderful. And I have enjoyed being with you so, so much today. I don't want to let you go. I'm going to take one more question and then we're going to go. And thank you all for being on this call today. You've been vulnerable with me. You've been learning lots, I hope. And take a moment, subscribe to my channel. Give me a little thumbs up if this video is helpful. And if I didn't get to your question, feel free to post it in the like the little text boxes below, comments. I'm a single mom, divorced almost a year. I recently had a very good but short relationship. I find that I am not used to receiving good treatment from men. It feels unfamiliar to me. So this is something that I refer to as your jumping off place. So we're walking along, we're jumping into that great big abyss of love, and anything can happen. I might get hurt. I might find who I'm meant to be with for the rest of my life. I have no way of knowing. And your jumping off place is coming from shaky ground where maybe you weren't treated that great. Maybe your guy was really taking you for granted, and I bet he's hating it now because he's finding that you're hard to replace too, or whatever it may be. It is unfamiliar to you. You know what you're feeling. I'm not used to this. I'm not used to receiving. I want you to practice a little mental exercise. Practice seeing yourself giving a good friend a little gift, a little boxed gift, and watch her, and everybody do this right now. I want you to see a little boxed gift in your hand, and there's a friend, and you're handing her that gift box, and she's pulling off the ribbon, and she's ready to look inside, and look at her face as she's about to get that gift. And how do you feel giving her that gift? You know. Now, I want you to pretend that your friend is there with a bunch of your other friends or family, and they are now giving you a gift, this beautiful little box, and it's time for you to get a gift. How do you feel? So that exercise will help you get used to receiving and what it feels like to have people caring about you, moving towards you and giving you something. And practice opening that gift and how you feel, experience those feelings. And Lila, this is something that will really get better with practice. The more you do it, the more you date, the more you experience. Every man is an opportunity for you to do what I call moving up the tiers. It's kind of like little steps. And those tiers are the ways you move up in your power, your empowerment, your feminine energy. And that comes from having these experiences with men and learning more about yourself, learning more how to express yourself and what you feel and what feels good and what doesn't feel good and things like this. Okay? Everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. I'll have all my links below. Leave me a comment, follow my channel. I look forward to hearing from you on my social medias. Thanks again for joining me. I'm sending you lots of love. Bye-bye.